Hey everybody, today I want to talk about an album that I just listed on my website, needlemeetsvinyl.com, and it's an album by Elvis Costello and the Attractions called Get Happy. Now this album was released in 1980, and this is the fourth album released by Elvis Costello. It's the third album he released with the Attractions, and it was produced by Nick Lowe. And this album is one of my favorite Elvis Costello albums. Now it's hard to choose my favorite Elvis Costello album because he has so many excellent albums, and he has so many different time periods of as he was a songwriter. He kind of evolved from his early stuff, which was kind of had like the new wave kind of punk edge, to a bit more of the moody kind of singer-songwriter kind of stuff later on, and then he went into completely other genres as well. By the way, I love almost everything he ever has put out. But Get Happy is definitely an album I always come back to, and one that I think is probably one of his best as far as an album goes. Now, this album has 20 songs on it. Yes, 20 songs. And at the time, this was kind of an oddity in the terms of a record, because if you have too many songs on one side of a record, you can lose a bit of audio quality, and you tend to lose a bit of bass. Now, the US pressings and the UK pressings that I've heard of this album definitely do lack bass. They also lack what I call that warmth. They don't really have that warmth to them. Luckily, though, I found this pressing. This is a German pressing from 1980, and it has 20 tracks on it on a single LP, 10 on one side, 10 on the other, but it has everything the US and the UK pressings all lacked. It has a lot of bass, has so much warmth. It's just an excellent sounding record. Now let me show you what it looks like here. Again, this is a German pressing from 1980, so it's the year that this came out, and it's on this black label, as you can see there. And this, by the way, is in just absolutely beautiful near mint condition. And it just sounds wonderful. Now, I know the idea of having 10 songs on each side, for some people, that is just kind of a scary thought, because anytime you've ever heard, like, there's like some of those budget records that were put out like in like the 70s and even the 80s too, that had like the old like rock and roll hits. They would have like 22 songs on one single record, and those just, the sound quality was just so bad. It suffered so poorly. Somehow, though, on this Elvis Costello album, they really were able to pull it off. Now, the only thing that I would say is negative about having so many songs on here is that the sound level is a little bit quieter than a normal record. You just have to turn it up, but as soon as you turn it up, it sounds brilliant, and it's such a great listening experience. By the way, here's Bobby, who's going to say hello. He's going to do a little bit of cleaning. What are you doing? Okay, well, there goes Bob. Now he's laying over there. You can't see him, but Bobby is currently laying and rolling around and just having a great time. By the way, it's like a beautiful day out here in California, and he is definitely enjoying the weather. Back to this fantastic Elvis Costello album. So, so the only thing is, the overall volume of this record is a little bit quieter than a normal record. That's not to say, though, that it's too quiet in any way. In fact, I've heard some records I have that have just like 5 songs on one side that are the same volume as this. You just got to turn it up. Once you turn it up, it's excellent. Now, they did end up doing some reissues of this album that put the album on 2 LPs, and I happen to have one. And while it seems like this would have better audio quality just because they were able to put it over 2 discs, and by the way, this one happens to be a gatefold. The gatefold, by the way, has just the images from the inner sleeve of the actual original 1980s release. But this is one from 2015 that I picked up, and while it sounds pretty good, this original 1980s German pressing just beats it out by so much. It's almost night and day. And oddly enough, this 1980s pressing has more bass than this reissue. In addition to that, the 80s, the one that I have on the website, the 1980 issue, just original issue, by the way, not reissue, 1980 release from Germany, has so much more clarity and so much more warmth. it's a very, very warm recording. That's the best way to describe this 1980s German pressing. It is so warm, has that beautiful, beautiful analog magic that we all are just always after, right? Now, that's not to say that this 2015 reissue, which I'll show you what this one looks like, doesn't have great qualities, because it does. And by the way, there we go. Just had to pull it out there. It has some good qualities. It just doesn't add up, in my opinion, to the original 1980s German pressing that I have currently on the website. So this is the 2015 reissue that was put over two LPs. This happens to be side 4. It's got the yellow label, and this happens to be side 3, has a red label. And again, this sounds good. So if you were to find this one, I think this is still available in stores. If you were to find this one and pick it up, it's definitely a good sounding record. But if you want that original, just really, really warm sounding original pressing, then the 1980s pressing is the one you want to go for. I'm trying to put this back in here. It's having a hard time. I will say, this reissue from 2015, it's kind of has a shabby job as far as the actual sleeve goes. It's a little bit uneven, it looks like, so the records kind of hang out on the side here. It's almost like it wasn't cut, the actual carbon wasn't cut exactly right, so that's a little bit of a complaint. But this original 1980s pressing from Germany is just a brilliant, brilliant record, and I just love this album by Elvis Costello and the Attractions. And I love that it's produced by Nick Lowe. By the way, Nick Lowe is just a fantastic producer and a fantastic songwriter and performer in his own right. But I loved when he worked with Elvis Costello and the Attractions. They created some just brilliant, brilliant albums, and this is definitely one of them. So, if you are interested in picking up this exact pressing of Elvis Costello and the Attractions album, Get Happy, go to my website, needlemeetsvinyl.com. It's currently on the website, and you can read a whole back history that I wrote on there for this record, and a little bit more in-depth discussion about why I decided that this pressing is the best one that I heard. So head on over to needlemeetsvinyl.com and maybe pick up this album by Elvis Costello and the Attractions. So that's it for now, and we'll talk to you later. Bye for now.